Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Tasha here. If you like the content so far, make sure you subscribe and you can get notified for all new content that I release on this channel. Here, we're just trying to help everyone grow as professionals and expand their careers. So today I'm going to be talking about my toxic work habits. Now, the reason I call them toxic is because I think if you listen to conventional wisdom or what a lot of health gurus are talking about, or when people talk about work-life balance and whatnot, these are things they say you should avoid. However, I think it's important that we call them out and label them as toxic, even if we're still doing them and I'm still doing them, because I think it's important that we are intentional with all the things that we do. The following things that I'm going to talk to you about, I know these are toxic. I know for the rest of my career, I don't want to just keep doing these things, but I'm making a conscious decision to do them now because at this point, I'm still trying to expand and grow my career as much as I can. I'm still kind of going hard in the paint in the Halo franchise and in pursuit of this mission, which I've talked about on the channel before. So I think it's important to have that level of awareness of what I'm doing, and maybe there are more, and maybe you are doing other things. I'd love to hear in the comments that others would maybe consider toxic. Let's just put a label on them, right? And kind of name them and call them out. And that way, again, we can be intentional and say, yes, I know these are toxic. I am committing to doing them though for XYZ reasons. I'm doing it for a purpose, or I maybe have an end goal in sight that I'm trying to achieve first, and then I'll kind of remove these habits. But I think it's important to just call them out as you see them. So the first one on my list is, a lot of people talk about not thinking of work or grabbing the phone as soon as you wake up. And I am definitely guilty of this every single day, including the weekends. As soon as I wake up, the first thing I do, turn off my alarm and I check my phone. And I'm looking for really urgent signals that tell me, hey, you need to put out a fire immediately, or you have some time to just wake up. So for example, it could be a Twitter DM from a partner or a pro player. Hey, Tasha, you got this urgent issue. What's going on with this? Or it could be a series of tweets, people tweeting at me in the community about things that may have gone wrong. There's an issue with the game, whatever it might be, some sort of fire drill that's at the top of my stack list. Then it's emails. I'm taking a glimpse at all the emails that I've received in the last, think about 8 hours. A lot of the partners that we have are overseas, so we'll get emails from Europe that come in, and the early mornings is typically when I can jump on those. So if there's something that's really urgent, I'll jump on it there. At the very least, I'll know, okay, this person got back to me. I can kind of put that in the back of my brain as something, I'll get to when I'm able to. And then there's messages on Teams. So you may use Slack, you might use, something else. We use Teams at Microsoft, obviously. So we get Teams messages. This could be from the development team. It could be from the HCS team that I manage. It could be from my boss, whoever it might be. I want to make sure I'm looking at those messages and saying, okay, is there anything urgent I need to deal with right now? And then next, what I'll do is I'll look at my calendar and I'll say, okay, when is my first meeting? Usually I do this the night before, but sometimes I don't, and I do it in the morning. I'll look at, okay, when is my first meeting? Who is it with? Are there some meetings in the morning where I need to mentally prepare for, hey, we're gonna go negotiate this deal with somebody, or hey, this is gonna be a tough conversation about something. I need to make sure I'm kind of mentally thinking about, okay, how do I want to approach this conversation? So those wheels are turning as soon as I wake up. And then there's text message, right? So the team will text me, maybe some partners, my boss will text me, whoever it might be. I'll go through those texts and just say okay, any kind of fires I need to deal with now. I wake up and I get ready and I go straight into the studio. I'm not sitting having breakfast. I'm not making a coffee, sitting outside reading a book. These days, I've been so busy. I just wake up, I go to work, I work all day and night, I come home and I eat and I sleep. I don't think it'll always be like that, but right now that's where it is. And I've accepted that. I know that's the way it's going to be right now, but again, I'm pursuing my goal. So the second work habit that I think might be toxic is not being afraid to take other people's tasks if the opportunity comes up. So I actually don't do a ton of this these days. In the past, when I was a vendor at Microsoft, a contractor, and this is really my first year and a half or so. There were gaps that needed to be filled and kind of jump balls that maybe someone else should be doing this, but I think, you know what, let me do this. That helped me a ton. It showed that, you know, to my bosses and to the whole team that I was like down for the cause. I was going to support whoever might need support, or even if they don't think they need support, I was gonna give it to them. And what it enabled me to do is just learn. And I learned about, you know, other people's responsibilities, and it helped me get a broader understanding of my team and what they do and how it connects together and how it kind of rolls up into the broader business. And so I just learned so much about all these different things. You know, there are times where people quit their jobs, they move on to different teams, whatever it might be, but there are bigger holes on the team. If that were to happen, you know, I would be the first one to say, hey, actually, I can take on that person's work. Like, sure, there's a few things that need to fall off, but now that they're gone, you know, I can do the main XYZ kind of priorities. And it was because I had already had this mentality. I had already been picking up a couple of the tasks along the way. And it enabled me to kind of grow in that way and become way more indispensable. Again, I don't do as much as this today, and I manage the team now, so I'm not going in there and taking my team's responsibilities. If anything, I'm delegating and giving them more and more. You know, I still have this mindset of trying to have the biggest impact as I can on the franchise. And if there are opportunities for me to go do that where I feel like maybe others aren't, then I'm gonna go do those things. And it's for the betterment of the franchise. Like, I'm not trying to put someone out of their job. We have goals we need to accomplish, and if I'm an able body and, you know, I have passion in this area, then I'm gonna try to push it forward as much as I can. The last one is I work weekends and I don't take many vacations. Managing an esport like this is 24/7, really. We have partners around the world, we have players around the world and our fans, and we all have tournaments going on every single weekend, and we have big events that we plan. There are, you know, times where I just can't like not be online and either working or just available. You know, it's not to say that like every weekend I'm putting in the same amount of hours that I would on a normal work day, but it's pretty much every weekend I'm doing something, some amount of work. And a lot of times I actually like it because there are no meetings. I can go to the studio when no one's there, and it allows me to do, just like I talked about in the deep work video, which I'll link in the description, it allows me to get a lot of my deep work done. So if I have a complex problem I need to try to solve, building on a business plan, whatever it might be, you know, I can take the time on the weekend to really kind of go through that stuff. I'm actually working on a PowerPoint presentation right now for management. I'm like thinking about it throughout the week, and I'm storing them in the back of my head. So when I have time in the weekend, I'm gonna go in and start jamming away at all of this stuff instead of trying to take the time, you know, during the week when I have meetings or more urgent and pressing things to be doing. So the weekends give me a lot of like longer term project time to do. And on the vacation side, like, don't get me wrong, I like to travel and I like to go places. But, you know, I moved all the way across the country from New York for this job, and all of my family is back there. So if I'm gonna go on vacation, it's gonna be to New York to visit my parents and stay with my family there. You know, I'm gonna be going there after our next event in a couple of weeks. And, you know, I plan on bringing my laptop and working, and that program review that I mentioned, that big presentation with management, I'm gonna do it from New York, and I'll probably take some other calls. I'm gonna try to take as fewer calls, but, you know, there are a lot of times where, you know, it's really like a working vacation. Very few times that I'm ever like completely offline, and I most certainly have my phone. So again, for me, like, I have a mission. I'm trying to push hard to do my best to have the biggest impact that I can. And it means sacrificing weekends, and it means sacrificing, you know, vacation time. Again, it's not like I never take vacation time. I do, but, you know, it's not very often, maybe a couple times a year, that I am away in New York and spending time with the family. I think what I like to do is take some weekends sometimes. I did this a bit last year when things were not as crazy as they are right now, where, yeah, I went to like a basketball game to watch the Warriors play in San Francisco. Like, that was cool. Like, I want to do more kind of trips like that. Those are like short weekend trips where I leave on a Friday night, I'm back Sunday night and ready for work on Monday. So to wrap up, those are my 3 kind of toxic work habits. Curious to hear your perspective. Do you think these are actually really toxic and I should stop doing them? Do you have any of your own that you would put into the list here? And let me know in the comments what you think. But again, for me, it's all in service of this kind of greater mission. It's important that I'm naming them, I'm calling them as they are, and I'm making conscious decision really every day, every week, every month that like, hey, I know this isn't the best for me, but I want to pursue this and I have a mission right now and I'm going to go after it. So if you liked the video, make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.